With your permission, Madam Deputy Speaker, I wish to make a statement on the Government's return to the humble address on Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. I shall speak briefly because I'm conscious of the time today. Madam Deputy Speaker, I have today laid before the House documents the Government has identified that the House requested in the 24th of February 2026 humble address, covering the creation of the role of Special Representative for Trade and Investment in 2001, the appointment of Andrew Mountbatten Windsor and the advice of officials and ministers. This has not been straightforward. Departments have changed in the intervening years, and most documentation was then paper-based. In addition, we have had to be careful about not compromising the police investigation. I'm glad to say that we have published 11 documents today, including the formal appointment proposal, evidence that ministers were content with the proposal, internal communications, media and press briefings. And these documents speak for themselves, of course, and all honourable members can read them. They're available in the Vote Office. But I want to assure the House that we have proceeded on the basis of maximum transparency and have only redacted material that bears no relevance to Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, such as travel proposals for other members of the royal family or content that would otherwise prejudice international relations. I reiterate, the Government is fully cooperating with Thames Valley Police in their investigation into potential misconduct in public office. I commend this statement to the House.
Is this, and I think he said this is just the start of a full disclosure, and could he share with the House if there is going to be further disclosure, or is this the final amount? Can he give the House, if there are going to be further tranches, a clear and final timetable for when the process will be complete? Is the absence of a formal record of due diligence or any vetting process evidence that the Government itself raised no questions at the time about the appointment? And where, if anywhere, are the documented concerns or challenge from officials or ministers at the time? And can I ask the Minister directly, when will the full set of files that this House has requested relating to Lord Mandelson's role, particularly any advice, correspondence or due diligence connected to his appointment, be released to the House? Finally, the Minister has a large trade envoy programme today under his responsibility. So what due diligence is the Government doing on appointees to that trade envoy programme, and are they following a code of conduct governing their behaviour today?
I suspect they won't. I think this is nearly everything, and I think this is everything we have come across so far, certainly. Of course, we will keep on looking, notwithstanding the complexity that there is about searching in paper-based systems in multiple different departments. I guarantee the House that if there is more to publish, I will come back to the House with more, but I suspect that this may be our last tranche.
The Minister has said that he's not sure if there is more. Can I ask him when he will be sure and when he will release any remaining documents? And the documents we do have clearly show concerns about the potential for conflicts of interest. It started with golf, but we all know what came next. And why did that not lead to any scrutiny or vetting, not just at the start, but at any stage during his tenure as an envoy? The guardrails were not in place. The appointment came into effect over a year after ministers said they were happy for it to happen, and the files also show that the then Prime Minister had been aware from the start and also did nothing. There was time for these warning signs to be taken seriously. Why were no questions asked at all in that period? And in his written statement in the House earlier today, the Minister excused the lack of vetting and oversight because it was a royal replacing a royal. Does he agree that safeguards must be put in place for any future appointments like this? And can he please tell the House whether officials or ministers were aware at the time of Andrew's connection to Jeffrey Epstein, which had already been established when this appointment was made? Was this connection monitored? And can, finally, the Minister confirm that, given their absence in this release, that there are no documents pertaining to communications with Peter Mandelson about this appointment?
Madam Deputy Speaker, if I'm honest, I'm a bit miffed by the attitude of the Liberal Democrat frontbench, because I have regularly updated the Liberal Democrat frontbench ever since the humble address was brought forward. I have been as open and as possible with their frontbench, and they have indicated privately, regularly to me, that they were perfectly happy with the progress that we were making. There are some difficulties about which I thought would be difficult for us to overcome. In particular, the connection between this and the police investigation. We obviously don't want to do anything that would imperil the police investigation. I think all honourable members would agree that if the police were to find evidence and felt that the Crown Prosecution Service should take forward charges in relation to misconduct in public office, we would all support the prosecuting authorities in doing their duty. I explained all of this to her honourable friends, and they indicated that they were perfectly happy with that process. I had thought that the police might ask us not to publish some of the material. In actual fact, they've been very cooperative, and they've allowed us to publish everything. And we have done some minor redactions, as I say.